Look, because the
And we
look I
are live.
yes. Yes.
Hello, everyone. What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It is your girl, Miss Natalie B. And you know what time it is. It is 6 o'clock on a Friday. So you know it's Free Your Mind Friday with the Healing Academy. And as you can see, I am not alone. I have the beautiful and her pink, come on, the amazing, the talented, the educated, the degree holding Sauntè Tate. Give her a high five. Give her a round of applause, everyone. Miss Sauntè Tate. Miss Sauntè Tate. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me here with y'all. You know how I feel about you. Of course, I'm coming through. Of course. Thank you for having me, sis.
No worries. And y'all know, if you've been following the social media posts all week long, we are talking about social, emotional learning and literacy. So this is the first week, and as soon as we got to this topic, I was like, oh, Sauntè.
Because you know how I feel about this topic.
Exactly.
You know, I feel very, very strongly about this topic in particular. And I'm just happy to be here and talk about it with you.
Hey, now, so while everybody's coming in, let's start by telling them who you are.
Yes, I'm trying to share us going live for my page so my followers can also tune in. So if I'm looking down a little bit, y'all, I am so sorry. I'm trying to make sure that everyone gets this knowledge that we're about to put out in the universe. But I am Miss Sauntè Harden Tate, and I am a community educator advocate too for a nonprofit organization. And basically, what I do there is I go around teaching students in schools about sexual abuse, how to protect their bodies, etc. And also, I'm an advocate for sexual assault, so I do a lot of advocating for victims of sexual violence. I also am the creator and host of Oh We Gon' Talk, and y'all know what that is. And Miss Natalie is the co-host on there as well. And we talk about all things generational trauma with the hope of breaking those generational curses. So I'm very passionate about generational curses. And with breaking any generational curse or talking about trauma, social emotional learning is super important. It's so much a part of that and a part of us understanding our emotions, how to articulate and express our emotions to other people, understanding what emotions really mean, where they come from, all of that. And the more we understand about that, the better we are. So you'll hear me talk about emotional intelligence all the time because I'm very passionate about emotional intelligence. And I'll be sharing a piece with you guys about that emotion as well, which I'm very excited to share because I absolutely love writing. Natalie knows how I feel about writing, and so I'm just happy to be here and happy to talk about this super important topic. So thank you for having me, Natalie, and the Healing Academy.
No worries, sis. We just had a long conversation on how we are so much aligned as far as what we do at the Healing Academy and the things we're trying to give to the world. So, sis, you're right on board with it. The first question that I tend to ask everyone on the show in different ways, because of course it's different topics. But for you, when did you fall in love with social, emotional learning or literacy?
Wow. Honestly, I will have to say it didn't come until much later in life. I think that I always kind of had like an infatuation with it and wanting to understand it. But I think what really made me understand and appreciate the importance of it is when I became a mom and just realizing how important it is to be in tune with your emotions, because I'm going to be responsible for someone else's emotions and teaching someone else how to be responsible for their emotions. Yeah. So I really think that really hit close to home for me, especially because I became a mom before I became a wife. And so, a lot of people may get that fall in love or start to have that connection with social emotional learning going into marriage, because it's super important going into a marriage. But because I didn't do anything the traditional way, I had the motherhood aspect of it first. So I knew I was going to be responsible for somebody else's heart, somebody else's emotions. As a daughter, I know what affects my mother's emotions, my mother's thoughts, my mother's feelings had on me growing up, and how she reared me as a parent. So I wanted to be very conscious of that moving forward, being a mother. And that in itself has sent me on a journey of really understanding, studying, investing time in social emotional learning, because again, what I send out in the world is a reflection of me and the job that I've done. So I want to make sure that the people I'm sending into the world is not hurting others, because we know the cliche but very true statement of hurt people hurt people. And
Absolutely.
I just don't the person that hurts someone else. So, that is when I think I probably really fell in love with understanding social emotional learning.
Nice. Now, in your own words, can you define what that is?
Absolutely. In my own words, social emotional learning is all about understanding the root of why we feel the things we feel, labeling those emotions, being able to express those emotions to others, and understanding them first for ourselves as well, so that we can be healthy and we're allowed the space to feel those feelings. And then expression and communication is really important. So if you're not aware of why you feel some sort of way, where it's coming from, it's very easy for that to be misunderstood in translation to someone else. So when we're learning about social emotional skills, it plays into that emotional intelligence role as well, being emotionally intelligent, understanding what that means, understanding how you feel, and being able to express that to someone else.
Hey, now that was like perfect little bite. What it
An
was.
amuse boost. An
How
amuse
about you
boost.
do this? You do this.
So that's how I define it.
Absolutely. That's a great definition, sis. And what we actually started doing for the show, for everyone who was here last week with Spirituality and Tatiana, I started pulling pieces and leaving people with bites on how they can start progressing in whatever the subject matter is. So I'm going to ask you that question a little bit later. And then I'll actually make a little post so people can actually checklist it and start implementing some things that can help them in that field. So we're going to get to that later. But that might be at the top. So I might have to have you run that back so we can put that on the sound
It's
bite.
your world. It's your world. I'm just following your lead. I'm following your lead, sis.
I got you. I got you. So we might have to hit them back with that one, because that was a good
Yes,
definition, sis. And the people need to know. That's why we here. Okay.
that's why we here. And it really is super important, and something we don't talk enough about, especially in our community, especially as sister to sister, as friends, just period. We always shy away from certain conversations, but this is one we need to have, because it makes us stronger. It makes us more progressive. If we're going to get to where we know we can be, we have to master all the things that are holding us back, and not just some of it. And this is one of those things. We talk about the financial literacy aspects,
Come
we
on.
talk about education aspect, but we don't talk about the mental health and mental and emotional health aspect as much as we need to, when honestly that filters into everything else. So
That
yeah.
part. I said this, I think it might have been last week, but if you give a person the tools and the keys to conquer the world, but not themselves, you've created a monster.
Mhm.
Because if I have the time, the money, the resources to literally rule the world, that's exactly the boat we're in right now. But I don't know how to master myself. I don't know how to master my mind. I'm not a good person. I don't have a good spirit. Then we end up in the space that we are in right now, where we can see the world is in conflict because the powers that be, air quote that, or the people in charge have the keys to the world, but not themselves, not the spirit, not the heart, not the mind. Right. And so that's something that we definitely want to change especially when talking about our people, because, we can't change the whole world first. We got to
We
start with
cannot.
ourselves and then go outward. Right. So
Yes, we do.
checking with you, then your family and your friends and your kids, and then the community at large. We got to start with self and go outward. But with our people, melanated people, we've been brainwashed for so long. It's time to wake up.
Yes,
But
it
that
is.
starts with figuring out why we feel the way that we feel. Because like we talk about, oh, we're gonna talk, we dealing with generational traumas and curses half the time that we don't even know that's on us. And we
Yeah.
react in certain ways to things and we have no idea why, but we never take the time to sit and really try to figure it out and master self so we can make better relationships, better decisions. We can react better in certain situations. And so that's definitely where it starts. It's knowing that you need to and then actually doing it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I really can't say nothing more to that than ditto because that is absolutely it. I mean, it's the root of so much. And when you have some things and experiences in your life happen, for me, it was motherhood, like really understanding the role that I play in really growing up and really cultivating. Essentially, that's what you do when you're a parent. You cultivate a adult. So, and making sure that I'm raising this person in a way where I'm not sending a monster, as you said, out into the world.
Yeah.
I need to be conscious of my own social emotional things and my own traumas, my own generational curses, etc., so that I'm not perpetuating that cycle, because it's super important that we don't.
And can you tell us about your journey to social emotional learning, like within yourself? Now, I know you got several degrees and all of that. And I know the babies inspired it. But was there a journey before the babies, or were they really a mirror of you to start your own journey?
So I think because I became a mother still pretty early. So I was about 23. So for most people, they may say that's not very young at all, but it really is actually. I was still trying to figure out what I wanted, how I saw the world with certain things. So really being a mother kind of catapulted me into that world of understanding how important social emotional learning is. But as a mother, it really made me understand how important it was to me as an individual, too. It wasn't just about being a mom, but it was also about being the best Sauntè that I could possibly be. Because I do have certain personalities, I have certain feelings, and part of that growth was understanding when something would happen, like, well, why does this happen? Especially if I've noticed that it's been like a trend in relationships or at work, things like that. Like, well, why is people describing me this way? Why, when someone talks about me, they say this thing? Like, one of the things, for example, was I've been described a lot as being a fiery person. And at first, you're like, yeah, I am fiery. But then it started to be like, wait a minute, why are you saying that? Like,
And
why
why are
would
you
you
so consistent?
describe me? Right. Like, I'm hearing this from everybody. And what it was is that was partly the image I was giving to people, because when I would get upset, when I would family get upset, I would get upset, right? I would like, woof, explode. And so people took that like, ooh, she could be confrontational, or she could be this, or she could be that. And it was just like, at first you feel like, oh, they're just attacking me and I'm misunderstood. But part of the importance in social emotional learning is self-evaluation and learning yourself and understanding. So I had to take a step back, humble myself a
Mm-hmm.
bit, and say to myself, everybody ain't saying this for some reason. Everybody else ain't wrong. Maybe I need to realize that I'm that common denominator and really start to understand, like, if this is happening, it doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean that I'm not a lovable person. It doesn't mean that I'm an angry Black woman. It doesn't mean those things. It means that something happens where when I get upset, I go from 0 to 100, and I'm giving people this impression where that may not be how I want to be seen or even how I see myself, but everybody can be wrong. So let me think about that for a minute. Let me ponder on that for a bit. And so in doing that, I realized, you know what? I am fiery because I let things build up and I let things stack up. And then once they get too much, I explode. Why am I doing that? Like, why do I feel the need to do that? And then it came back to the root of it being, well, because I felt like as a kid I had to do it that way. That was the best way to be, to hold in your emotions, to not talk about your emotions, to ignore your emotions. One of the things we talked about in an episode of Oh We Gonna Talk this week, when we talked about wives, is the Black woman's story of having to be strong and can't show emotion and can't being the backbone for everybody, right? And so I
Mhm.
can't be the backbone by always wearing my heart, my feelings on my sleeve, right? I have to kind of bury some of that emotion. And that wasn't healthy for me. That's why they were getting the fieriness, the angry womanness, and I had to say to myself, everybody wasn't wrong all this time. I wasn't wrong either. I need to have a better way of dealing with my emotions and being in tune with how I'm feeling. So I've had to do the work on that. So now when I feel myself getting there, I'll be like, let me pull my tools out the toolbox.
Musa.
Let me pull some. Let me take a walk. Let me pour some wine. Let me take a bath. Let me do something. Take a nap if I have to, but just not explode. And just over the past 2 years, especially in doing the work on that, I don't hear myself described that much that way anymore, unless you've already had that description of me in the first place.
Right.
But I think that that's probably what did it for me. It's just noticing trends and not aligning with who I wanted to be or who I even saw myself to be, and really trying to understand those trends and how they connected to my emotions.
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's that self-evaluation. And that's something that so many people do not have. That is a skill that is not across the board. And we talked about this on Tuesday with the Breeze experience. And we mentioned it because if you don't see the problem, you can't fix the problem. And if you
Absolutely.
don't take the time to sit with self, to say, hey, let me check in, what's going on? What's okay? And that's my fault. If you can't take accountability, then what are we doing? It's always going to be someone else's fault, and you'll never grow as a person. And so I think that is a beautiful note to really start off with, the fact that we really need to see the role we play in our life, in our situations, and allowing other and outside things to control our emotions. And another thing that you mentioned is your toolkit. Going into that toolkit to calm it down and bring it down. And
Because
that's
I'm gonna
really
be
important.
honest, I done had to pull it out this week a few times where it was just like, where's my toolbox? Where's my emotional toolbox? Okay, take a breath, take a step back, don't react. That one there was like the real big thing for me. Like, don't react. Think, be strategic, take a
Yes.
moment, but don't be reactive. Reactive is never good. So
Yes.
just really like pull out that toolbox. Do the work, sis. Do the work. You can do it.
Now, as far as this toolkit, because I really want people, if people are out there and they're not really sure what we're referencing to when we say toolbox, can you tell people what that toolbox or that toolkit is and how you personally created yours?
Absolutely. First and foremost, in order to have a toolbox, it's a very specific, unique thing for you based on who you are, what works for you. Because what works for me may not work for the next person. What works for the next person may not work for me. Some things are universal. And that one thing that's universal is what I just mentioned, and not being reactive. Sometimes when we're triggered in a way that makes us upset or makes us feel like it's reminiscent of something we've experienced before that's hurt us. If we are hurt in the transition of whatever event expired, like we get reactive, like we react first and think about what we did later. And that's a very immature way of handling it. That's what children do. So when you get to a certain age as an adult, you have to hold yourself accountable for that, and that it's not safe for me to just be reactive first, because we know there are consequences to everything. And so when you're just reactive, you do and think about consequences later, and that can get you in a lot of trouble. That could be life altering. So just in first and foremost, understanding reaction is not the first thing to do. The first thing to do is the pause. So I've learned to be quiet. I know that's a very simple thing,
But
but
it's powerful.
it's a powerful thing, and it's the thing that I think I had to gain and that was the hardest for me because I'm very expressive, I'm very open, and sometimes to a detriment. So I've had to learn to be still. When they say peace, be still, like literally, be still, be still. And sometimes I literally hear myself saying, be still, just be still. And I have to have that conversation with myself. And then when I'm still, I'm learning to allow myself the space to be human. If I'm upset, say I'm upset. If I want to cry, allow myself to cry. If
Yes.
I'm angry and want to punch a pillow, allow myself to be angry and punch a pillow and say that and sit in that and be honest with myself about what I'm actually feeling. Because once I know what that emotion is, it helps me know how to help that emotion. So if I'm sad, then maybe I just need to cry. If I'm angry, maybe I need to punch that pillow. If I'm tired, I'm feeling tired, feeling overwhelmed, feeling fatigued, maybe I just need to take a break and lay down and take a nap. Like once you know what your emotion is, what you're actually feeling, something I do with my kids is when they feeling things, I say, name the emotion. What are you feeling? Are you upset?
Mm.
Are you frustrated? Are you sad? Because once we label it, we can help it. We know what the plan of action is. And so once I label what that emotion is, then I react accordingly. If I'm upset, I need to understand why I'm upset. What is it that I feel that was done wrong to me? I had some things happen this week at work, and it was just like, okay, I'm upset. But why am I really upset? And then once I was honest with myself about why I was really upset, okay, but how do I fix that? How do I fix or remedy the problem? Not put a band aid on it either. Like, what's the end game? What's the long term?
Yeah.
Like, how do I make a move where I'm not feeling this way again. And I'm actually handling the problem as well all in one. So thinking long term and not just in the immediate time. That's what being still is for thinking of the band-aid. And then once I, sat back and started thinking about that, which sometimes can take me an hour, sometimes it can take me a couple weeks, to be honest, but really understanding and planning on how to fix it so that I don't have to feel that again is how I do my toolbox. So it's steps, it's levels. But first I'm just quiet and just giving myself that time to process, because when we don't process, we make the worst mistakes. We make the worst moves. We need time to be to strategize, to think clearly, to be in tune with ourselves and be honest with ourselves, even if it hurts, and you move
That
that way.
part though. That part though, to be honest with ourselves. That
We
part,
need to,
that self-reflection piece and that being honest with ourself piece is like them two pieces. That's like, you gonna have
yeah.
to work. Everybody ain't got that. Everybody ain't got that. But that's really
Nope.
the key to it. Like you really can't go that far without analyzing and evaluating yourself, your emotions, and how you react to things, and then really being honest with how you feel. And that was like, I got my notebook. I got
I
my
know.
notebook. So
And probably your tambourine too. I'll be ready next time.
tambourine
I have
over
my
here as well.
triangle and my cymbals. I'll be ready.
We're gonna get you good, girl.
Right.
But but the piece about like being quiet, feeling how you feel. Because I think some people think dealing with their emotions is pushing it down. I really truly believe people out there feel that that's an accurate way of dealing with their emotions. Oh, just don't feel it. But if it comes up for a reason. Then you have to figure out what that reason was that made you feel that emotion. And then you can figure out how to fix it. Like you said, it's steps, it's a process. But if you never feel it and you just push it down and bury it, oh, it's just gonna stack up. Then something else gonna push up. You're gonna pop that up and it just got a little higher. Then something else gonna come. It's gonna get a little higher until it, like you said, explode. And then everybody's wondering what the heck is wrong with you. And that's that piece. It's not about how we'll look. And this is a stigma that comes with this topic. It's not about how you will look to other people. It's not about how other people are going to feel about your healing journey or process, it's not about anybody but you. This is your journey, your self-reflection, your truth, your emotions on how you feel. Can't nobody feel your feelings but you. Can't nobody do your healing but you. Can't nobody be real with you but you. So
Absolutely.
that part is it's always a stigma around anything emotional, because being emotional is, I mean, is seen as a bad thing.
Yes,
Oh,
it
you
is.
over emotional. Oh, you a punk, or you this and that. Especially when it comes to males. But in all honesty, it takes more integrity. It takes more strength. It takes more courage to say how you feel and feel your feelings than it does to push it down and let that stuff come out later or never come out at all. It takes more strength to say how you feel and really know how you feel. And I think it's to the point now that so many people push it down that they don't even know how they feel anymore. A lot of people are becoming numb, and a lot of people have not taken that moment to just be quiet with themselves and not react. Because when you mention that react part, sis, I'm like, it always goes back to the greater large of the community. This is one huge problem that we have.
Mm-hmm.
People are just doing without stopping and thinking. When you have like the fights, the shootings, the carjackings, the all of these different things that are happening negative in our communities, we have to think about why we're not teaching emotional and social literacy. We're not teaching that in schools, right? We're not teaching that half the time in our households. We're not taught it. So it's not a surprise that people are out here just exploding everywhere in different ways. They're not taking that pause moment to be quiet and going to punch a pillow. They punching somebody. Like, you know what I'm saying?
All the time. And just to piggyback off a couple of things that you just said, that one of them being that, we're not teaching it in the schools. They are kind of teaching it in the schools, but one of the things that I've learned about how it's presented and which is often overlooked,
Mm,
culture plays a significant role in social emotional learning.
that's the
You
social part.
cannot teach it properly without taking into account all the influential factors and why we do what we do, i.e., you just mentioning, I can't allow myself to show emotion because I'm a man or because I'm the backbone. As a Black woman, I have to carry everybody. I don't have time. If I show that I'm falling apart in front of my children, they'll worry. Or if I don't, everything falls
Mhm.
by the wayside. So we train ourselves to believe that we don't need to have that human aspect of us anymore. And then we go out and not be human. That means that I don't see you as a human then. If I'm not a human, I can't
Or,
see you as a human being. So
or you
this is
can have a mess
why
at the
I mean,
tambourine.
and it's so true. And when we talk about the violence and, all of the things that happens in our communities, we only graze the surface in understanding that we have lost humanity and we've lost it in ourselves first. So it's almost impossible to see it in someone else because now I'm just a being, I'm just a vessel, I'm just here, I'm existing. That is
Mhm.
the worst thing that has probably happened to our culture is the mere just existence. I am existing and that's enough. It's not enough. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be
Yes,
human and
yes.
sit in it and sit in your humanity, whether you're sad. I want to be able to, and one of the things that I've endured a lot in my world is I'm very passionate in my work and everything I do. So I can get excited. I could get so passionate if I'm having a real deep debate. And often on the other end, what people see is not passion, they see anger. And he'd be like, but I'm not mad. I'm passionate. These are emotions. And Black women, Black men have been conditioned over years, both in home and society, that you don't get to have emotions. It's not safe for you to have emotions. And so if
Mhm.
we're really gonna start addressing all of the other things that, is running rampant in our communities, we have to start there, is really like finding a way to allow ourselves to be human again because it's completely been stripped away from us. And while we're, upset and fighting for the humanity and others and other cultures and other races, ethnicities eyes, we need to fight for it within ourselves too and say, okay,
Absolutely.
it's okay for me to be human today. It's okay for me to not be strong. I've taught my daughter, when she's come to me before and said, I'm not okay, I celebrated her for that. I
Yes.
celebrated her. I said, thank you for telling me that you're not okay. That is the best thing we could do for ourselves is say, I'm not okay today. It don't mean you ain't gonna always be not
Right.
okay. But in this
In
moment,
this
right
moment
now,
right
today,
here.
I'm not okay. I can't function today. I can't think today. I can't be what you need me to be today because I'm not okay. And we need to give ourselves permission to be human again and just say, I'm not okay.
And there's a strength in that.
It's a strength.
Again, there's a strength in saying, look, and then that helps stop and eliminate other conflicts.
Yeah.
Like we did the marriage show the other day on Oh We Go Talk. And if for a wife, because we do it, we wife, mother, you wear all the
Yes,
hats,
love.
period, you wear all the hats, and we always talk about juggling them balls, right? Can't none of
Juggling
them fall,
balls.
right? We juggling everything. And it's like if it's that superwoman complex of I can't have a crack in my armor. Because, like you said, the kids can't see you. Never let them see you sweat, is what they say. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to keep it together for everybody. But then something's going to fall off. Something's going to fall off because you're not going to be okay every day, especially not with all that weight on you. So now your husband looking at you like you crazy, like, because you didn't just stop and say, look, babe, today is a
That's
hard
not
one.
okay. Yes.
And I'm
It
going to
is,
need a little
it's
support.
true.
And we have to be able to say that because that will eliminate other conflicts if we can just be transparent enough. And that's another part. People don't want to be transparent because people don't want to get hurt. It's also a fear of if I let you in, if I am too vulnerable. On top of we live in 2021 right now where social media is running rampant and everybody wants to put on that face. Everybody
Absolutely.
switch masks when they get on social media and everybody's happy. And the second someone comes on social media and is transparent, because this is a platform where we putting all our business in that out there anyway, and say, look, y'all, I'm not all right today. Then they're like, oh, you just looking for attention. Well, wouldn't you look for attention when you put that picture up there? Why
Yeah.
this person can't say they not okay today? And
I,
that's
I
culture.
and it's sad, and I just want to address that too because the power it takes in saying I'm not okay. I almost feel like we owe it to each other because in my transparency, which is why, if you talk to anyone about me, I am very honest. If you watch the show, Oh, We Gonna Talk, I am very honest. I put it out there. I put it out there in my writing, and I've always been that way. Like, I've always been very open and forward. If someone asks me a question, I'm going to tell them the truth. And while some people say that's telling your business, actually, no, I look at it as freeing someone else to be able to acknowledge that what they're going through is normal or they're not alone. And there's power in saying I'm not okay because every time I admit that and I'm vulnerable, I'm freeing someone else to be able to do the same. I'm making a pathway, a space for the next person to be able to come in and say, you know what, I'm not okay today too. I too hurt. I'm too sad. I'm too feeling depressed. And we don't do that enough. And so what in turn happens is that we suffer in silence, which is the worst thing we can do for
And that's
ourselves.
why our suicide numbers are so
Are
high
through the
because
roof.
people feel like they can't talk to anyone because I'm the only one going through this because everybody else on Facebook looks so happy. But little do you know, when they log off, like people have so much going on in their lives, but we don't share it. We don't talk about it. People suffering from anxiety, people suffering from all of these different things. But you'll never know by looking at their social media pages. But
Yeah.
that's what other people are looking at. So now I'm looking at your social media page and I might have anxiety or be depressed as well, but I don't see that in you. So I'm like, look, they life perfect. It's just my life that's jacked up.
Yeah.
And
It's
you
just
feel a lot. It's just me. And everybody on this planet has problems. No matter how much
everything.
money is in your bank account, no matter what, right? But it's our emotions that we control. We have to take our power back. We have to know that we're not alone. We have to be comfortable sharing our truths, like you said, because it frees someone else. I did a motivational speaking tour a few years back, going around the public libraries in Chicago, talking to the young people. And one young lady was saying she suffered. She had a learning disability, is what they coined her with, right? But they put that on a lot of our kids, right, for a whole lot of different reasons. but she felt really self-conscious about that. And so I looked at her and I said, "Oh yeah." And she's like, "Yeah, and I don't want to tell anybody, and I don't want this, that, and the other." And I said, I did too. They put that on me too, sir. What they call it, LD? I was in that class, sis. You know what I'm saying? And then she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, look at me. It ain't stopped me from doing nothing that I wanted to do. I had to work a lot of times harder than some people in my class. I still got better grades. I'm still in a better place than them right now today. And I'm doing everything that I want to do. And that's that part. It's not what's in your life that's there to stop you. I mean, air quotes on that one too, because it's just a lesson. It's how you handle it that's going to make or break you. I always say everything is sent to me for my greater good. Whether it be negative, whether it be positive, whether it be neutral, the craziness, the tomfoolery that come through, I say this is for my greater good. I might not even know in that moment why it's for my greater good, but I say this is for my greater good, and I'm gonna figure out why. And every single time, I assured you, I figured out why, because I sat down and I did that self-reflection. I was like, okay, there you go. And there's a lesson. And
I've learned to be still and just wait for it to be revealed, because it's not always for me to go out and seek the answer. Sometimes I just need to be quiet and just wait. And that was kind of one of those confirmations I had this week when expressing that I had my toolkit that I had to pull out. It was like, that was it. That was the thing. Like, everything happens for a reason. I don't always have to understand why in this moment, but for some reason it was meant to go down this way. And right now I just need to be still. Be still. And as I started to do that, I stopped talking about it. I stopped trying to harp on it. I started doing other things to occupy my energy. That those revelations started to happen where it was like, it's something else, babe. It's something else, babe. Be still. Just wait. Just wait. I don't know if y'all have ever seen that meme where it's like God telling a little girl that has a little teddy bear, and he's like, just give it to me. And he has a bigger one behind his back, and he's like, no, trust me. Let me give you something else. Let's trade with me. And whenever right. And that was what she was saying in the meme. She was like holding it like, but it's mine and I love it and I don't want to give it away. He's like, trust me, I have something else for you. Every time I'm in that space, I picture that meme in my mind, because I have to remind myself there's something much bigger happening well beyond me. You know what my friends say? It's above me now.
It's above me now. I'm letting God handle all things above me.
It's above me now, you know? And if that ain't the truth, you help what you can help in today, and the rest is not up to you anyway. And you just need to be still. That's it. That's all.
I used to always say it was a Smokey Norfolk. I think it was an older Smokey Norfolk song from years ago, right? And I mixed that with a Neo song. And Neo, I love Neo. But I used to always be like, I'm too blessed to be stressed, too fly to be depressed. Like, right? And I know that may come off insensitive, but what I'm really saying is again, all things work in my greater good. And that's a mental state that we all can get to once we really start analyzing the things that happen to us and just stop thinking that things are just happening to us.
All the time. Yes. Say it again.
And that's real. Things are not just happening to you just because life hates you. We have to really stop taking things personal. And I know that's hard. I'm not saying that that's like real light piece of cake with some caramel on it. I know it's hard. But we have to get to the point where we stop taking these things personal. If he stopped calling you, boo, it's because he wasn't supposed to keep calling you. He wasn't supposed to be in your life. Who's that? Tyler Perry saying people supposed to be in your life for seasons. Stop trying to keep people there forever that was only supposed to be there for a few seconds to show you something. And we get so attached to everything. Like that little girl was attached to that teddy bear. She like, I love this teddy bear, but it was a bigger one if you would have kept going. If you would have just swapped out, it was a bigger one. If you would have let Bay go, because he ain't nothing or she ain't nothing, you could have got the better one. What if Sierra would have stayed with Future?
Oh, Lord, see, went there, because you better. That's a whole sensitive subject for a whole lot of people out there. They
I put
they
it out
mad. They big
there.
mad.
Y'all come talk to me. What if she would have stayed with Future? Okay.
Fact. All
Russell,
fact.
she would never found Russell. Okay. And I don't
Yes.
care what none of y'all talking about. He's the one Daniel's son. Okay.
Yes, he is. She definitely she got what was meant for her, and sometimes we gotta look beyond what we think is meant for us. And
Yes.
just to also piggyback off something you just said about us feeling like things are happening to us. Sometimes there are things happening to us that are just not fair. I see so much unfairness happening to people that I love and care about. And you do say, like, dang, that is just not right. Like, why is this person going through that? I've been at a point where I've always tried to do the right things, even when it's hard, even when I'm like, nope, I'm not doing the right thing. It's so ingrained in me to do it anyway that before I even can think about it, I done already did the right thing. And I'll be like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing the wrong thing this time. And I done did the right thing. Damn it. So it happens to all of us. And it's even okay too to feel like this ain't fair. It's okay to say that. It's
It's
okay
okay.
to feel like I'm tired and I can't go on. Don't tell yourself that, it's wrong when you allow yourself to feel that way, because sometimes we need to sit in that for a minute because we tired. That's part of the human emotion. We need to be human. Like, I can't stress that enough. And in saying, like, this just doesn't seem fair. I don't know why I'm going through all of these things. It's hurtful. It's making me tired. I don't know if I can. Um, it's okay to have those moments. But I hope that somewhere somewhere very shortly after that, you find the strength to keep moving, because nothing comes to you by standing still. So you still have to keep moving and get what may be possibly better for you, and let go of expecting it to come in this one little box. That's something I tell my friends all the time. Like, you gotta stop looking for that blessing or that next level to look just like this. It may not look like that. It may not look like that.
Absolutely.
You have to be prepared to take it in whatever wrapping paper it comes. I've gotten some real bomb gifts in a bag, a Target bag, okay? Where you know, and you get some really nice gifts in not the best wrapping paper, right? But
Because a
that
lot of us is too full in our blessings. We didn't push our blessings out because it didn't come the way we wanted it to come. But universe don't care. Universe don't care what we want. It's gonna give us what we need.
Yes, indeed. You are so right in that, sis.
And
Yes,
it's
yes.
gonna come out all different ways. And I was talking to one of my best friends, and we were talking about how he was saying Black women's expectations for men in relationships are so high, right?
Not really.
No, that's a whole nother conversation we're gonna have to get back to. We're gonna table
Right.
that one. But that's what the conversation was. Okay.
Right.
And the thing was like, if you have this expectation of a six-figure suit wearing this checklist, and that's it. Okay. But what if this is the exact person you want, but he just likes sneakers? Or you know what I'm saying? What if that's the exact person you want, but you never know? And so I told God and my ancestors in the universe, I was like, look, I'm open. I am open. And a lot of times I say yes to almost everything because it's either going to work or it ain't. Can you do
That's
this?
it.
Yeah. Even if I don't know how to do it, can you do this? Yeah, I'm going to figure it out.
Find it out.
And it leads to some more blessings. And I'll be like, look at God. Don't block your blessings. And it all goes back to understanding that everything happens for a reason. Yeah. You ain't got to have all them ducks in a row yet. Do it. And line them ducks up as you're going along. What they say, build the airplane while you flying it.
It's facts. If that ain't facts, I'm telling you, I've said some yeses that, just for example, like jobs. I've had some yeses to jobs where I've been like, why did I do this? And saying yes to those jobs felt like it was the wrong choice because it offset and triggered some other things, right? But then after I got past that and the emotion in that, I was like, By saying yes to that job, I met this person. And
Mm-hmm.
by meeting this person, I met someone else. Or
Mm-hmm.
by saying yes to this job, I acquired a skill I probably otherwise would not have even thought to or planned to acquire. And now I
Mm-hmm.
have it. So sometimes when we think we're saying yes, like we have this picture of what the results or the labor of saying yes is supposed to produce for us, right?
Right.
Like, oh, I said yes, so I'm supposed to, have this wonderful career and make all of this money. And sometimes that yes is just putting you in a position to meet other people. Me saying
Mm-hmm.
yes to a job led me to my new sis, Natalie B. And look at all the wonderful things that we're doing and creating together and what we're learning from each other, inspiring each other to do. And just that one yes led
Could
me
change
to
your life.
I mean, just and I go back to that. Like last year, that one yes, I have just surrounded myself and packed onto my community, my personal community, in a way that I can't even express. And when I think about that, that was the biggest success in me taking this job that I took and that I'm in now last year. This was my greatest success out of all the things I accomplished in that position. It was the people that I got to enter into my world that
Mm-hmm.
was that power in the yes. So you just never know what that yes is going to bring to you and what is going to transpire from that. And we have to allow ourselves to get out of that fear and take those healthy risks, because healthy risks are important. And it's also part of social emotional learning.
Absolutely. And I was also going to say the no's. The no's are very important too. And real quick story. Over the course of the pandemic, right? A lot of people I know, the pandemic shook emotionally. It was a lot going on, absolutely. But this is another moment where it's like, oh, you got to reclaim your power. We ain't got nothing to do with this virus going around. We don't have nothing to do with how the government handling it. We don't have anything to do with that. We can't go and fix it in one day by ourselves and go fix some stuff.
Right.
But what I do have control over is my mental, my heart, my spirit, my life, and what I'm doing right now and what I can do during this time, right? So when I see people like, oh, 2020 was just horrible, yeah, some horrible things happened. But it didn't have to be a horrible year. 2020 was a year of my life. Blessings came through in
Too.
2020, okay? And
Right.
it's because I was not going to let a pandemic shift my mind, my emotions, and control me because I can't control it. So what I did, I took a class right before the pandemic. I signed up for a program at the Art Institute, right? I got waitlisted. I was like number 2 on the wait list. I was like, that's still pretty good. As many people applying. I'm like, I'm all
Absolutely.
right with that, number 2 on the wait list. All right. I'm all right with that.
Yes.
Be all right with that. But that was a no. I'm like,
Right.
okay, I'm good with that. Moved on. I'm like, that one must not have been for me, right? Not taking it personally. Moving on. Found out about a film, the Production Institute film program. That's when I made my documentary. I learned
Which
about
was
filmmaking. I
incredible.
made my first documentary. And midway through, almost towards the end of that program, they called me back like, hey, can you? And I'm like, nope, I'm in another program. That one wasn't for me, but this one was. You see what I'm saying? So that no saved me, because if they would have said, yeah, I would have been in that program and I would have missed the opportunity to do something that was more fitting for me. So some of these no's are exactly what you need, exactly when you need them. So we can't take those no's personally either. And that's with jobs, that's with education, that's with relationships, that's period. I say thank you to the no's, because I'm going to find something that's meant for me. That one wasn't for me. Everything isn't for us, even if we really, really, really want it to be. And that's something that we have to understand and be able to control our emotions around. Those no's are blessings too. Those no's are blessings too.
If that ain't the truth, I don't know what is. I'm telling you, I have learned to appreciate the no's just as much as the yeses, because the no's are putting me in a position to get to the yes. And we need to look at it that way. That no isn't denial, that it's not a denial. You can't not have it. It's just not right now. When
Mm-hmm.
I met my husband, one of the things I told him was one of my faults is that I can be a little spoiled. So I approach everything with no just means no, not right now. And so I think we need to address things in life that way too, that no doesn't mean I never can have this. It means that in this moment, it's not the best thing for me to have. And another thing that I've learned as well is that when you asking for things, it's fine and dandy to ask, but you also have to be in a position to receive, because it's a responsibility to receive the thing you're asking for as much as it is a gift. So when you get it, you have to be able to hold it up and nurture it and look after it and care for it properly. And so
That's
you
what they
have
say
to
the
be in
triple
position.
switch for.
Exactly, exactly. So, no doesn't mean no at all. It just means no, not right now.
Absolutely. And all of this ties into that social emotional aspect, because these are the things in life that can get us emotionally off center.
Yes,
The
it is.
messes, those no's, people walking out of your life, these different experiences that we feel are just happening to us, all of these different things, um, we can't take personal. And that's that part. And I talk about the Four Agreements book. That's my new
All
thing.
the
Like,
time.
I'm like, it
Yes.
just makes life
Yes,
so
yes,
much
yes.
easier. Everybody read the book. Please don't read the Four Agreements. It's super short, but it literally will change the world if everybody just reads that book and say, yeah, these are the agreements I'm sticking to. Being impeccable with your word. Don't make assumptions. Right? Don't take anything personal. Like, these agreements are simple, but they are literally the foundation and the root of all trauma, of all drama in everybody's life. You said
Absolutely.
you're gonna do something that you didn't do. You assuming that I was gonna do this and I did. I said this and you took it personal, but I was tripping because this happened to me earlier today. Like, like those are the roots of every drama ever in society. So, like, if we really committed to that and said, I'm taking and adopting these four agreements to heart, and this is how I'm gonna live my life, the world will change. And that's all dealing with your mental. That's why Free Your Mind Friday is Free Your Mind Friday. You free your mind, you free your life. You literally drop the shackles of other people's thoughts, of your own thoughts sometimes, because some of your own thoughts aren't your own, We have to be able to be real with these things and the way we feel. We have to feel our feelings, get to the root of those feelings, and then work on being our best self for real. But girl,
Absolutely.
I want you to do this piece.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
Sauntè is a poet. Okay, if you know it.
I write a little bit. I do a little something on the page.
Word artist, and she loves to write. And as you guys know, on Free Your Mind Friday, we tap into the artists' minds and their life around these topics. So I'm really excited because I know this topic is your passion, and then writing is your passion as well. So I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited to share it. And so I guess I won't, since you already was like, hey, get this piece out, I'm going to share with you guys. And this is just something that I wrote. And I hope that all of you out there feel it, because especially as women, we need this. So it's for the woman that needs permission to be human. I ask you, when was the last time that you wept? For all the painful secrets that you kept, for all the things your eyes have seen, for all the sorrow in just being. Have you wept for all the goodbyes, for all the obstacles that stifled your tries, for feeling that you are never seen, for all the trauma they didn't mean? Have you wept yet for the struggle, for the thunderously loud, and for the super subtle, for the years of mountainous things, the on the surface wounds and the ones unseen? Have you wept yet for being tired, for the abandoned dreams and the ones uninspired, for the lack of belonging and feeling undesired, for the fear that your time has expired? Have you wept at all, or just stayed strong, barely living, barely holding on? Have you have you or are you afraid to fall apart? If you haven't wept, now is a good day to start. Unwept tears manifest into hopelessness and fears. Unwept tears manifest into hopelessness and fears. Unwept tears dissolve us, while wept tears resolve us. Cry and heal, sis. Cry and heal.
Come on here. Cry and heal.
Cry and
Now,
heal.
we're going to have to break that thing down and dissect that thing, put that thing, and let us know. What was the inspiration for that piece? And tell us what you really want people to get out of it.
Absolutely. So for me, I wrote this piece last week. Was feeling a bunch of things all at once, feeling a lot of emotion. And as I told you, I'm very intuitive with what I'm actually feeling. And I was feeling sadness. I was actually very sad. And normally, what someone does when they're sad is cry. But I just couldn't. I could not. I wanted to. Sometimes when I need to cry, I'll watch something like This Is Us, or some
Be
that's
crying.
that's gonna tap into those emotional heartstrings, and then I'm able to cry, even if it's not necessarily about that thing I'm feeling, but just get that ventilation, because that's what crying does for us. It's a ventilation system. It's a reason we're equipped to do that. If we were not meant to use tears, we wouldn't have them. So there's a reason that we have them, and we need to tap into using them more. Everyone, women, men, children, everyone needs to have a space to tap into their ventilation system. And I just I couldn't that day. And it was what I really needed. And I knew that it was what I really needed. And so one of my tools that I didn't necessarily talk about in my toolbox is when I can't do something and what normal things would help me to do or accomplish that task, I go to the next thing that may do it. And so I use poetry as a way of expressing whatever emotion is deep inside. So that was me recognizing that the reason that I really couldn't was because I don't give myself permission enough to do that. And that, even when I do cry, I had this conversation with a good friend today. I have this tendency to apologize. Like when I cry in front of people or I'm public, I think I cried with you yesterday telling you a story. I got emotional and I was like, I apologize because I know this is not what we was here for. But I've
no,
noticed
it's okay.
you was like, do that thing. But I think that's still me unlearning the stigma that I'm not supposed to be human, right? And so this was me reminding myself and reminding everyone else that crying and weeping is human. It's part of being human. It's our humanity that keeps us going. It keeps us grounded, keeps us present, keeps us aware. And so I wanted to give others the same permission that I seem to not be able to give myself. And I want to give it to everybody out there watching. You have permission to cry, to weep. It is yours. And I encourage you to do it.
Hey, now, I feel like you were talking to me, sis. And I don't know if you see these comments, but they loving it as well. Cry and heal. You got quotes going. You're going to be a t-shirt now. Like, look. They loving it, sis. You won't have them, okay? They quoting you. They quoting you, sis. But that's that piece. And I felt like you were talking to me because it goes back to that superwoman, that strong Black woman wearing all the hats, juggling all the balls, doing everything. I'm definitely one of them. Okay. I don't say this because I'm looking from the outside. I'm one of them. Okay. And so for me, I really do not cry. It's rare for me to cry. But what's funny is I end up crying at random stuff. I be watching TV with my son and it be a cartoon and the little talking trains work together as a team. And I'm like, they did it.
Yeah.
They did it. Like, that's teamwork.
And can I comment on that real quick, sis? Because that's really important. So that's another reason why I want to free everybody out there and give them that permission to do that, because your body is made to do certain things. It's going to do it whether or not you want it to do it or not. It's the same thing where, you You ever been going, you realize I ain't really slept much, and you be like, but I'm not tired. But when your body really get tired, you gonna fall asleep in the weirdest places, okay? You know, and sometimes it's not even the safest place to fall asleep, but your body is gonna say, power down, like whether you want to or not, it's gonna shut you all the way down. And our emotions is like that. So when we're not allowing ourselves the space to cry, we're going to get it out one way or another because our body needs to. When we're tired and we're not giving ourselves the rest, our body is going to demand that rest, and we're not going to have a choice but to. When we're upset and we're angry and we're not expressing emotion, we're not showing others that we feel hurt or we feel angry, that's that volcano, that fieriness that I talked about. Oh, we going to get it out.
Even if it's misdirected.
Even if it's misdirected, and then we have to do that, you know, that results, the reaction, what happens, the consequences after.
Right.
We have to deal with it. But that's when you see people that just snap. They've been building that up for forever.
That wasn't brand new.
That wasn't brand new. They've been tired. They've been ran over. What Malcolm say? They've been bamboozled, run amok. You know,
come on.
Landed on them, and they tired. They tired. And so now it's just boom. It's just this explosion. So when we don't allow ourselves to naturally do what we are made to do, we gonna do it anyway. And we need to give ourselves, it works best in our favor if we give ourselves that permission. So I hope, if nothing else, I know that was part of the question of what I want people to take away from the piece is, you have the permission to be human. Please go do that.
And that's self-care. And I think that's something we're not taught either. I know I am still trying to figure out self-care and what that looks like. I was taught to help people. I was taught to be kind. I was taught to go get it. I was taught to do it myself. I was taught all of those things, but I wasn't necessarily taught, like, okay, but when you're done with all that, go recoup. When you know what I'm saying, go take your hot bath, go whatever it is. Like, so I am currently trying to really create a self-care routine for myself, and that's a part of dealing with your emotions. Because if you, like you were saying, if I'm just out here existing and I'm not really caring about my life, why should I care about yours? Right? About how we are as a community. We love, self-love is first.
It's first.
And when you love yourself, you're gonna treat yourself different. When you treat yourself different and you love yourself, you're gonna treat other people that look like you different. You're gonna give them a little more grace, a little more care, right? And so I think that's a huge part of it. And crying, something as simple as saying, I'm gonna sit here and cry because that's what I feel like doing, is self-care. And so we have to look at self-care as a thing that helps us deal with our emotions as well, and really figure out what's wrong with ourselves as well, because that's that quiet time. That's that time to sit still, go dig in that toolbox. That's self-care for sure. So it's time to start wrapping up, son.
Yes.
It goes by really, really quick. I know.
We be on there for hours most times, and it fly. Because when you in good company and you having good conversation, time just flows, and it's just very easy to not realize how much time has passed. But as always, I just enjoy being in your space, in your energy. I feel like I've known you all my life. Even though I know I'm a little bit older than you, just a tad.
Are you just 25?
Just a little bit.
I might have you by a couple years.
I'm just a little bit older than you, but I just love what we're doing together, and just I just hope that everyone has a Natalie and everyone has that energy out there in the world. So you keep doing you, sis. Keep giving the people what they need, and I'm proud of you, and thank you for having me.
No worries, and you keep doing you on all your work, and we're gonna keep talking about it, okay? Y'all gonna learn today, tomorrow, Wednesdays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, okay? You're gonna learn.
Every day. Every
we got all interviews for the week. You're gonna learn, all right?
We got your program.
Right? But before we head out, so it's my last question, and I want you to drop this bug on the people, leave it so they can marinate and really figure out how they can tap into that emotional, social learning and literacy that's so important to living a full, prosperous life. Because like you said, they deserve it. You deserve it. If you're watching this show right now, I'm talking to you. You deserve it, okay? To be happy and live a full life. And that starts with dealing with your emotions. learning them, loving them, dealing with them. Okay. So, what can you leave the people? Your top 5 things to do when really trying to get to know and learn emotional maturity, emotional literacy.
Absolutely. First thing, be still. Be
Be still.
still. Be still. Be quiet. Allow yourself, allow your thoughts to talk to you. Those are our compasses, right? They keep us on the path. So be still so that you can hear. You need to be able to hear, and being quiet is the best way to do that. Secondly, is reflect. You absolutely need to have self reflection. It's important. Self reflection keeps us sharp, it keeps us moving forward and not backwards. Always be honest with yourself, be intuitive with yourself. So, self reflection. I'll say 3, as with anything, you need to make sure the people around you are also helping you do that as well, because iron sharpens iron. So it's very important to surround yourself with people that are trying to be a support for you as well, because you cannot always be the cup that people drink from, and sometimes you need to drink from someone else's cup. Okay, so definitely having a strong support system and having people around you that's willing to feed into you too, willing to pour into your cup the same way that you pour into theirs.
That's a
And
word.
4, that's a word. And then 4, I would say that understand that that no is not no always, just no, not right now. And don't beat yourself up about that no. That no most often has nothing to do with you directly, but everything to do with where you're supposed to be. And so you need to take heed, you need to take trust in that that no is for your benefit and not actually the opposite. And
Mhm.
5, just piggybacking off what you said, is love yourself and give yourself some grace, give yourself some self care, allow yourself to be human. Please know that you are human and you deserve it. You deserve to have feelings. You deserve to be sad. You deserve to be mad. You deserve to be tired. Don't
Mhm.
let no one tell you that you can't be tired. You absolutely can't be tired, because being tired means that you need rest. And sometimes rest is what you need to be able to think properly and move forward. You need to be fortified in some way, right? So rest is very important with that. So allow yourself to be tired. It's okay that you're tired. And that's my 5 things.
Absolutely, sis. Well, I got them.
You got them.
I'll be sending you the notes.
I'm li- I'm be
Be
listening.
sending you, be sending you the
Yes.
notes.
What's that TikTok where he was doing it to drumline? Yes, that's gonna be I look forward to it, sis. Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all of your comments. I definitely see the comments. Chanel Lane said words. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Taylor was also with all the comments in here. She said, oh, Taylor said, yes, she's putting it on a t-shirt. She needs the copyright.
She's
She's
putting
putting it
on
on
a
a
t-shirt, crying
putting
heel.
quotes on a t-shirt. Taylor, get
Cry.
them t-shirts together, sis. Okay.
Yes, indeed.
So I appreciate you for being here, sis. Thank you so much. For everyone for viewing, thank you so much. And this has been Free Your Mind Friday with the Healing Academy. Again, I'm your girl, Miss Natalie B. Miss Sauntè Tate. Thank you so much. And we
Thank
will be
you.
back next Friday at 6 p.m. It's every Friday. And on Tuesdays, you can catch The Breeze Experience. Tuesday at 6 p.m. We love y'all. Put yourself first. Care for
Yes.
you. Self care is so important. And the thing to remember is that you deserve to be happy. So all of these culminate to the same thing. You deserve to live your best life and you deserve to be happy. Do the work. It's in your hands now. All right.
Good
See
night,
y'all. Have
y'all.
a good one.